Before Dana White, before McGregor, and way before ESPN deals, the UFC was chaos. Born in 1993, it wasn't about weight classes or judges, it was about raw fighting. Gracie versus Shamrock. Tank Abbott swinging for the fences. This was the Wild West of combat sports, and no one could have predicted what it would become, the Gracie era. 1993 to 1995. It all started at UFC 1. 8 men, 1 night, no gloves, no rules. And in walked a skinny Brazilian in a gi, Royce Gracie. He shocked the world using jiu-jitsu, submitting everyone and proving technique beats size. Royce dominated early events, winning 3 of the first 4 tournaments. His success forced fighters to evolve or get left behind. The ground game was here to stay. The Tournament Chaos, 1995 to 1997. Back then, the UFC was a spectacle. Guys like Tank Abbott, Don Fry, and Mark Coleman turned the cage into a brawl. But it wasn't sustainable. No weight classes, no time limits. The athletic commissions hated it. Politicians like John McCain called it human cockfighting. The UFC got banned in state after state. Pay-per-view providers dropped them, but behind the scenes, something was brewing. The Zuffa era begins 2001 to 2005. In 2001, Dana White and the Fertitta brothers bought the UFC for just $2 million. They brought in rules, rounds, and regulation. Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, and Matt Hughes were the new faces of a cleanup sport. It was still violent, but now it had structure. The rivalries were real, the knockouts were brutal. And with the Ultimate Fighter reality show in 2005, the UFC finally exploded. The Little and GSP era, 2005 to 2009. Chuck Liddell's mohawk and heavy hands made him a fan favorite. He headlined massive events and brought in new fans. But as Chuck's reign faded, Georges St. Pierre rose. Technical, tactical, dominant. GSP was the total package. Around this time, Anderson Silva also began his legendary middleweight run. 16 straight UFC wins, 10 title defenses. Fans were now watching for the technique as much as the violence. The Brock Lesnar effect. 2008 to 2010. Then came Brock Lesnar, a WWE superstar turned heavyweight destroyer. He brought mainstream eyes and sold over 1 million PPVs. Say what you want, but Lesnar made the UFC big business. His rivalry with Frank Mir, his title win over Randy Couture, and his battle with illness made headlines far beyond MMA. The lightweight boom, 2010 to 2015. With GSP, Silva, and Lesnar all stepping away, the UFC leaned into lighter weight classes. Jose Aldo dominated at featherweight. John Jones started his controversial but epic light heavyweight run. And Ronda Rousey, she became the face of women's MMA. Armbar after armbar, turning her division into must-watch TV. She wasn't just a fighter, she was a movement. The McGregor era, 2015 to 2018. Then came a brash Irishman who would change everything. Conor McGregor called his shots and backed it all up. He knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. He became the first champ in UFC history, and his boxing match with Floyd Mayweather, it generated over $600 million. Like him or hate him, McGregor took the UFC to heights no one else had. The Khabib dominance, 2018 to 2020. But if McGregor was chaos, Khabib Nurmagomedov was control. Undefeated, untouchable. He mauled everyone, including Conor, and retired at 29-0. His discipline, respect, and dominance earned him global respect, especially after his emotional retirement following his father's passing. The pandemic and Fight Island, 2020 to 2021. When the world shut down, the UFC didn't. Dana White made Fight Island real, putting fights on in Abu Dhabi with no crowds. Justin Gaethje, Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and Amanda Nunes stepped up. The UFC kept going when no other sport could, and it paid off big. The New Guard era, 2022 to present. The new wave is here. Islam Makhachev has picked up Khabib's mantle. Sean O'Malley became bantamweight king with his rainbow hair and sniper punches. Alex Pereira, a literal warrior, captured 2 belts in 2 divisions. John Jones returned as a heavyweight and grabbed gold again. Meanwhile, stars like Ilia Topuria, Bo Nickel, and Tom Aspinall are redefining their divisions. International explosion. MMA is now everywhere. Champions from Africa like Usman, Adesanya, and Ngannou made history. Russia, Brazil, and even China with Zhang Weili are delivering elite talent. The UFC is now a global powerhouse with over 600 fighters from all corners of the world. From no rules to world tours, from Gracie to McGregor to Makhachev, the UFC has evolved at lightning speed. Each era brought a new style, a new face, and a new reason to tune in. And the best part? The next era is already here, and it's wide open. If you enjoyed this breakdown of UFC history, don't stop here. Check out our other deep dives into the greatest fights, rivalries, and game-changing moments. The full story of MMA is just one video away.